Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Hoffman of EnlighteningLife.com, and in this video I'm answering a question that was posed on one of my Facebook live chats, I think 2 weeks ago, where somebody asked what was the difference between an expectation and an intention, and how do you basically tell the difference between the two, and how do you know when to use what, because you do have expectations and you have to set intentions, but there are some limitations to expectations that you have to be sure and avoid. So an expectation is what you expect to happen, and expectations are always based on our past. Expectations arise from experience. For example, if I burn my finger on something, and I'll give you a better example. So I have this frying pan that has a metal handle, and for some reason that handle always gets hot when I use that particular frying pan. Now, my other frying pans don't have that problem. It's just this one. So I know if I touch the handle while I'm cooking with that pan, based on my past experience, I risk burning my finger. So I use a pot holder. I put one of those little silicone pan things on top of it. So that's an expectation. I look at that pan and I go, oh, I better put a little handle cover on it now, because I know the handle's going to get hot, and if I touch it, I'm going to burn my finger. So that's an expectation. An intention is based on something that hasn't happened yet. So with intentions, when done the proper way, we set an intention for something we want to happen. So we set intention for an outcome. I want a fabulous job. I want to move to a great location. I want a fabulous community around me. I want to make new friends. I want a lovely relationship. Those are intentions. And then we have to leave the creation part a little bit open-ended and let the universe be our co-creative partner and bring in the possibilities and the potentials that we can't think of because we haven't experienced them yet. So if you remember from my book, 30 Days to Everyday Miracles, and I have shared this story with millions of people, I created this free all-expense paid trip to France. Now, I did want to go to France, but in my expectation, based on past experience, I would have had to come up with the money, plan the trip, decide where I'm going to go, buy the airline ticket, rent a car, plan for transportation, book hotels, all that stuff. Instead, I got this already planned trip that was all set up. All I had to do was get on the airplane. Everything was done for me, and I got paid to go on my trip. So it was with a travel agency, a tour group. So all the reservations were made, the hotels were done, the transportation was taken care of. All I had to do was show up. And of course, I was the translator on the tour. So all I had to do was show up and speak French, which I could do every day because I grew up in France and I grew up speaking French. So that's the difference between an intention and an expectation. So let's get to the creative process. So how do expectations work in the creative process? And yes, we have props. So here is our expectation prop, and here is our intention prop. So what we have is we set up say we want something, we set up an expectation. And okay, I want something, and based on my past experience, this is what I expect can happen. So we basically set an intention with an expectation and say, okay, here's the outcome I want, and this is what it looks like. Now, on the other side, this is us being the creator of the intention and also the creator of the outcome. There's no room for participation by the universe or our co-creative partner. So we set up the expectation, and it's like you go into a restaurant with a prefix menu, and that is basically, you have a menu you order from, and no, you can't order off of the other menu because the chef has decided you're going to have this salad and this entree and this dessert and all these and this wine and everything else, and that's what you get. You just get the whole dinner. So when you set up an expectation, you basically tell the universe, this is what I want. Well, the universe says, wow, okay, that's what you want, but gee, this is really limited because I have this whole other plate of things for you that you said you wanted a fabulous community. Well, here's a fabulous community that doesn't require any healing, or doesn't require any light work, or it doesn't require to be unhappy or to be in a place where you're not comfortable. And gee, you want a relationship, but you haven't really thought about having someone in your life who is, absolutely wonderful and loves to travel and loves to dance like you do and has all your interests and really wants you, to share this life with you and is completely ready to be in a relationship. There's no, healing period. There's no, stuff. There's no difficulty around the relationship. Well, you can't think of that because that's not what you've experienced in the past. So when you set expectations, you set an intention for the outcome. You come with a full plate and you go, okay, here's my outcome and here's my expectation. This is what I think it can look like. What we really need to do is use our expectations to set kind of some guidelines. So set our energy boundaries. So we set our energy boundaries for, say, I want to move to a new place. So I want a community where I have like-minded people. I'm really happy. I have a great job, or I have a great business, or I make money, and I'm really comfortable there. I live in a beautiful home. And then we allow the universe to kind of fill in the middle part. So the universe becomes our co-creative partner. But when we go with our expectations, the only thing that we can create from our expectations is stuff that's already happened to us. So when you go into a relationship and you go, gee, I don't think I could have somebody really great and wonderful because I've never had somebody like that before. So maybe I'll just settle for somebody who, only drinks on weekends, or who has a job at least a month a year, or who at least says I love you, once during the lifetime of our relationship. When you really need to set these boundaries, so use your expectations to get clear on what it is that you want, and then let the universe help you create that process. And that's the intention part. So when you use intention, you don't just say to the universe, so give me whatever you think I need, because that's not going to work either. You need a container for the energy. So you need a form, because that's your intention. Your intention creates the form, the container for the energy to flow into. So your energy boundaries, remember I talked in the Raise Your Love Vibes program, I talked about your priorities and your non-negotiables. So those priorities and non-negotiables become part of your energy boundaries. I want someone who's addiction free. I want someone who's financially stable. I want a job where I'm respected. I want a job where I have promotional capabilities. I want to live in a fabulous community, in a beautiful home. I want to be able to travel. Those are all part of your intentions, but they become your priorities and your non-negotiables. So things that you must have and that you won't compromise. And then the universe uses that to go, okay, so you don't want the healing relationship where you've got to, deal with somebody who's been traumatized and who's highly wounded, or you don't want the job where you have to go in and be the only source of light and deal with a lot of trauma or a lot of backbiting and really terrible behavior, or you don't want the community where you have to go in and set the light and you're alone because nobody else is at your frequency and vibration. And this is how expectations and intentions work. So use the expectations to set your boundaries and to set your priorities, and then use the intention to set that outcome. So I want the fabulous relationship, and here are my boundaries for that. I want the great job, and here are my boundaries for that. I want to be happy and fulfilled, and here are my boundaries for that. And then you work with the universe. Remember, this is a co-creative partnership, so you work with the universe to make sure that what you get fulfills your expectations, meets all of your energy boundaries, but you leave open that space for miracles that are the things that you haven't thought of, that you can't think of, that you don't even know exist, because that's never been part of your experience. Just like on my free trip to France, I didn't know that I could go on a tour as a translator and get paid for going and get my whole trip paid for free. And that's exactly what happened. So I got the trip to France that I wanted. I didn't have to pay a dime. I didn't get any money for the trip. I actually just got the trip, and all the details were taken care of, plus something I didn't even ask for, I got paid to go. So this is how it works together. So have expectations as your energy boundaries with your priorities, your non-negotiables, the things you really want, and leave that outcome kind of open, what it's actually going to look like. Invite the universe to enlighten you, to educate you, to inform you about the things that you can't even think of and you haven't even thought of before, because they've never been part of your experience. I hope that's helpful and that answers the question. Thanks for participating in my Facebook Lives and for answering questions. Sometimes I don't answer them right away because I have to kind of think about, okay, how do I explain this in terms that make a lot of sense? and that are, easily described, that you can apply to your life every day. And that's what I try and do. So this is Jennifer Hoffman, EnlighteningLife.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.